Are you sick of the Windows 11 Start menu and want something a little bit more functional? In fact, do you want to be able to change almost the entire UI in Windows 11? If so, stay tuned. Today we're looking at Start 11 V2. I'm assuming that stands for version 2, but this program is one that I covered probably a year or two ago, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it because I was doing a video on several different Start menu replacement. But unlike the last video, this video is going to be dedicated to just Start 11 because I think the changes that have been made in version 2 are really good. So I wanted to go over that and show you what you could do to modify the Windows 11 UI. And there's seriously a lot you can do with it. But first, I gotta pay some bills. So check out today's sponsor. Is your copy of Windows 10 unactivated? Well, it doesn't have to be, because with today's sponsor, VIP SCD Key, you can get a valid Windows 10 license for under $20. Stop dealing with that stupid watermark on the desktop, the valid license for Windows 10. Also, with an activated copy of Windows 10, you can upgrade to Windows 11 for free. Just go to the link in the description below and pick up a valid Windows 10 license key. During checkout, use the code CYBERCPU for a 25% discount. Once you have your key, go to your activation settings in Windows 10 and click on the link that says Change Product Key. Enter the product key you just purchased and hit Activate. Now you don't have to deal with that stupid watermark that come with running an unactivated copy of Windows 10. Now, on with the video. So let's jump on the computer and I'll show you how much better we can make the Windows 11 UI. Okay, so here we are in a relatively stock copy of Windows 11. As you can see, we're in the default start menu right here, and we're going to change a lot about what makes Windows 11 Windows 11. And first, we have to actually install Start 11. So to do that, we need to go to their website right here, and I'll go ahead and have a link to this in the description below. And I'm just going to try the demo here, but you can also purchase the full version if you wanted to. So we're going to go ahead and click try for free right here. And we're going to go ahead and click this link to get the download started right away. Now it might take a second to download. Looks like it's going to take about a minute. So I'm going to skip ahead until then and we'll get to installing it. Okay, now that it's done downloading, go ahead and click on our little folder icon here to open up our downloads folder. And I'm going to minimize Google Chrome here. Okay, to start the install, all we have to do is just double click on the installer right here. Go ahead and hit yes to the user account control. Hit yes to the terms of the license agreement and hit next. And go through the regular process that you would go to install any program. And now that it's installed, it wants you to enter a product key or start a 30-day trial. So I'm going to go ahead and close this folder in the background here. And we're going to start a 30-day trial. Now for this, it wants an email address. Now if you want, you can go ahead and put your email address in. But personally, I don't like spam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to temp mail right here. And I'm going to use a temporary email address. We're going to go ahead and paste this in here and hit continue. And then from this point, it says it sent you a verification email. Well, the nice thing about using temp mail is, there we go. There is our email right there. And we can go ahead and activate our 30-day trial. And it's successful. So at this point, we can go ahead and close our browser and hit finish here. And there we go. Now we're in our 30-day trial. And at this point, you get to decide whether or not you want your start menu to be left aligned or center aligned. For right now, I'm going to leave it center aligned, but we're going to go through all those settings also. So go ahead and hit OK. And at this point, you have all the different start menu designs that you can choose from. But by default, it comes with a Windows 7 style. So if we go ahead and click the start menu, as you can see, it looks really similar to Windows 7. And as you flip through here, you can go ahead and check the different styles. And all you got to do is just click on the style here and then click your start menu and you'll see that it automatically changed. Now, this one here is similar to the Windows 7 style, but I guess it's a more modern Windows 7 style. And then we can go to the Windows 10 style. And as you can see, this actually does look a lot like the Windows 10 start menu. And then we can go to the Windows 11 style. And it does in fact look a lot like the Windows 11 start menu. However, if you already had Windows 11, I'm not sure why you'd want the Windows 11 start menu, but you know, I digress. So if we go to the Windows app style, it says it's an updated Windows 11 style. And if we click on it, as you can see, it's actually a really nice start menu. Essentially, this one has all your pinned apps here, like the regular Windows 11 start menu, and then all your recent documents down at the bottom right here. And then it also has your all programs sitting over on the right hand side. And this actually is kind of useful, but as you can see, it takes up quite a bit of space. And then on the top, it has your icons for your user account and all your other utilities and things of that nature. Now, I'm not sure why it has two different pin sections, but I guess you could move things from one pin section to the other if you wanted to. So yeah, I guess you can have different pins. I guess this makes sense. And then you go through and I'm assuming, yeah, you can rename them. So you can rename the different sections if you wanted to, and you can have several different sections. So it definitely is a more advanced Windows 11 start menu. But I'm pretty sure if you go to let's go to their regular Windows 11 style and look at that again. It also has several different pin sections, and you have the all apps just like the Windows 11 one does. So you have that in both of these options, the Windows 11 style and the Windows app style. And then if we go to the Windows Pro style, as you can see, it's changed quite a bit. Essentially, this one has kind of a similar Windows 11-like start menu on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, it has more of your utilities and things of that nature, kind of similar to the way Windows 7 used to have it. So if you want to, you can go straight to your documents or whatnot just by clicking on these icons on the right-hand side. And it's nice, it actually has a control panel link so you can get to the classic control panel. And then right here, you have a Windows launcher style. So if we click on that, it essentially gives you more of a basic style that has your username up at the top, the power button up at the top, as well as the regular Windows 11 style start menu down on the bottom. So in this one, I think I'm going to pick the Windows Pro style because honestly, I like that one better. But you can choose any one you want. But now that we've chosen which start menu that we want to go with, let's go down into the configuration menu right here and look at some of the customizations that we can make to the start menu as well. And keep in mind that these customizations differ between which start menu you decide you want to use. And as you go through here, you can see there's all kinds of different things that you can change within this start menu. Like you can manage custom filtered folders, you can manage the menu's visual experience, which is what I'm going to look at mostly, or you can show the shutdown and reboot options when connected to remote desktop. Now this is a big change right here, and this one I highly recommend turning on if you access the computer from remote desktop very often. But we're going to go into the menu visual appearance here. And then if you click on that, it gives you tons of different options that you can make. Like for instance, we can change the start menu colors by essentially just turning this off and picking a color. So right now we look like we're just black apparently. So if we click on red and hit OK, now let's look at the start menu. It is very red. Yeah, I don't think I like that at all. I'm going to leave that on auto right now, and it'll give us back our black start menu. But as you move down, there's lots of different things you can do too. Like for instance, you can adjust the menu's transparency effects. You can use a mica effect for the menu background. So if we turn that on and then open the start menu, I can definitely see the difference, but it doesn't look as transparent as it did before. So if we turn this off and open it again, I kind of like that better, honestly. And you can adjust how much transparency you have. So at default, it's at 94%. So if we go down, let's go down to like 17%. And that is a very clear start menu, but it's still real foggy, so you can't really see through it. It's essentially like fog glass. So I'm going to go ahead and reset this back to default because honestly, I think that looked better in the first place. Anyway, so if we scroll down, there's a bunch of different things we can do. Also, we can change the background of the menu also. And if you don't know what that is, let's go ahead and click on it and we'll take a look at it. So if you turn this on, at default, it gives us just a blank menu background. So the menu is going to look exactly the same. However, you can change this to a bunch of different default menus that they have. Like for instance, let's try carbon fiber. And we open it up and you can kind of see that carbon fiber effect on the menu, and you can kind of sort of see a transparency, but you can't see the transparency as much with the background on it. But you can go through and pick any kind of background that they have here by default. Like this one's a fabric look. And you can also pick, let's look at the angled stripes. And yeah, that would get really annoying. I'm not sure I could live with that. And then if we scroll down, you can also use, let's check out the metal one. And there's essentially rough metal, but you can also scroll all the way down to the bottom here. And if you notice, you can pick your own custom image as well. So if we click here, we essentially go into, this is the folder that by default, this is their menu textures, but you can go into your own pictures and choose any picture that you want. Like for instance, let's pick the Breaking Bad RV here and see how that looks. So if we click on the start menu, as you can see, you have, well, at least you have the back half of the RV, but it does actually look kind of cool. And then if you click here, we can choose this anyone we want. We just pick another custom image, go over to pictures, and let's pick the Destiny right here. We click OK and click start. And as you can see, I think that one actually looks a lot better. And if you're a big fan of Stargate Universe, I think that would be the perfect start menu background. But let's go ahead and try another one real quick. So essentially you can go through and pick any image that you want, but I would recommend picking one that doesn't obscure the start menu. So if we click right here, let's click on this one. Let's click on Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. And we click on start. As you can see, that's actually a really good start menu, and it kind of lines up perfectly with how the start menu looks. Actually kind of like that. And the nice thing about this too is if we go ahead and close the start menu here, we go back to our start menus and we click on, say, the Windows 7 style. When we open it up, it's still using that same background that we used in the other start menu. It's just moved it over to the other start menu. So if we go to the Windows 10 style and open it, as you can see, now we have the Windows 10 style with a background on it as well. So even though a lot of these different choices of start menus here do have different settings themselves, and I'm not going to go into all of them, they also kind of spread their settings across each style as well. So as long as the setting you choose in one specific start menu applies to another one, then it will transfer that over. So like with the Windows 7 start menu right here, as you can see, it only covers this outer edge right here, and then this side is white right here. So obviously it's not going to put the background in here. But if you go into the settings for this one, I'm pretty sure you can change the background for the middle one as well. However, since the other ones don't have two different backgrounds, they wouldn't transpire over to the other styles. So I'm going to switch this back over to the Pro style so we can go back to that one. And in fact, for the rest of this video, I think I'm probably going to turn off the menu background as well, because that could possibly get annoying. So, okay, there we go. So now the next section we're going to take a look at is the start button. And we're essentially going to go down this list and look at the different features and stuff and the different things that you can do to customize not only the start menu, but the whole UI within Windows 11. So in order to change the start button image, you have to center it over to the left. So you have to actually turn this off so that the start menu goes over to the left like this. However, later on, once we get into the taskbar settings, we can actually move it back to the center and still continue to keep our custom start button. So I'm not sure why that is, but unfortunately that's the way they make you do it if you use this section right here to change your start button. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. And as you can see, we already changed the start button right there. And you can choose any kind of custom start button that you want. So if we go, let's go down to this triangle one. And as you can see, now we have a triangle start button. However, you're not limited to only using the start buttons that come with the program itself. What you can also do is you can also pick an image yourself. And from this, you can either pick an image from their catalog of images, or you can also use OpenShell button formats as well. So if we go over right here, I actually already downloaded some of these. So if we go into start buttons, as you can see, we've got Angry Birds. And as you can see, we've got the pig right here being our start button. And if I move my mouse over it, you can see his eyes moving. And when I click on it, his eyes close. So with the same thing, we can also change this to, we're going to go back into pictures, go back in the start button, and we're going to go to the bird itself. Now, as I change it to the bird, as you can see, he has his own little animated effect as well. And as you can see, if I move my mouse over, his eyebrows move, and then when you click on it, his eyes close. So you can change the start button to any button that either it comes with or any button that's supported by OpenShell, because it's essentially the same file format that OpenShell uses for its custom start button as well. And then from this point, we're going to go ahead and click on Taskbar right here. And then from Taskbar, you have to actually let Start 11 enhance the taskbar by turning this on. So if we turn this on right here, we go ahead and hit yes. It really kind of screwed up our button. And let me show you how to fix that. So to fix that, we're going to actually scroll down right here where it says change button color, look, and position. And from there, as you can see, we're back to the start button settings again. And this will actually allow you to take the start button and move it back over to center aligned as well, which I'm not sure why they don't just let you do that in the first place, but you have to actually enable the enhanced taskbar in order for you to be able to have the custom button with it center aligned, I guess. However, unfortunately, because of the fact that the button is an OpenShell button and apparently it's way too big, it displays it at exactly the same size that it actually is in an image. And I'll go ahead and show you how to fix that. Essentially, to fix it, it's fairly simple. All we need to do is go ahead and open up our File Explorer. So we're going to go into Pictures here. We're going to go into Start button. And then if we click on this and open this, as you can see, these are fairly big. And if we click on the three little dots right here, you can go down, you can hit Resize Image. Now you can resize this to anything you want. Right now it's 128 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and resize this to 64 pixels, hit Save. And then it's going to ask you to save it as. So we're going to go into the same folder. I'm just going to go Angry Birds 1 small and then hit save. And then at this point, we can go ahead and close that. We can go back into Start 11 and then pick a new image. And then from this point, we're going to pick the image that we just modified. So we're going to pick the smaller one and hit OK. And now, as you can see, it's still a little too big. It's still cutting off the top and bottom of our Start button. So to fix that, all we have to do is go ahead and open this up again. Go ahead and hit Resize Image. And then I'm going to go from 64, we're going to go down to 50 and hit Save. And then we can go ahead and save this right over the top of the one that we just saved. And then at that point, we can go ahead and close that, pick an image again, go back into Pictures, Start Buttons, and we're going to pick the same one again. And as you can see, it sized it up pretty well. And now that we've gone through that, let's go back into the taskbar settings and we're going to configure the enhanced taskbar right here. So once we click this button, it'll give you tons of different settings for being able to change the way that the taskbar is enhanced, apparently. And the first one right here is the taskbar button combining. Now, a lot of people like having the buttons uncombined or never combined. As you can see down here, everything that's opened isn't combined, but everything that is just an icon right here. So with me, I actually like the taskbar buttons combined. I don't like them opened up like that. So if you do, then that's awesome. You can set it to never combine taskbar buttons, but you can always do it to sometimes combine them, only combine them when they're on pinned buttons, or you can always combine the taskbar buttons, which is the way I typically have mine. And then that'll give you that little dot that's at the bottom right there, just telling you that that application right there is loaded. And then if we move on to the next step, we can actually change the taskbar button style as well. We can also change all the different fonts and things of that nature. However, we can't go through every single setting inside of here. Otherwise, this video would be way too long. But as you can see right here, we have the Windows 11 style taskbar button. And that's essentially this little dot that's underneath the actual button itself. So if we were to change this from Windows 11 to Windows 10, as you can see, now we have the line underneath it, more similar to the Windows 10 style. However, I did notice a little bug when I was playing around with this before. And if you go to the Windows 10 style and you decide to go back to the Windows 11 style, as you can see, all of your little dots just vanish. They just disappear. So the way that you fix that, and this is the way I figured out how to fix that, is if you come down here and you enable the auto hide mode and you turn this on, it will auto hide the taskbar. And then if you turn it off again, it seems to fix the buttons so they reappear again like they're supposed to appear in the first place. However, with that said, if you do like to auto hide your taskbar, then you can turn that on and it will auto hide just like it typically would with the regular Windows taskbar. So from here, we're going to go ahead and turn that off because personally, I don't like hiding the taskbar. And then if we move back into just the taskbar settings right here, there's tons of different customization that we can actually do with the system here. And to do that, first thing that we need to do is change our desktop background because as you can see, our taskbar kind of blends into the background a little bit too much. Now, this isn't necessary on your system. I'm just doing this because it'll make it easier for me to show you what we're actually doing. So if we go into personalize here, we go into backgrounds, I'm going to go ahead and browse for a photo that'll work here. Let's use this one from Better Call Saul right here. Okay, so now that we have a lighter desktop background, we can kind of see the contrast a little bit better of the taskbar. And then the next thing I want to look at is our taskbar blur, transparency, color, and rounded corners. So if we open this up, the first thing that I want to look at is the rounded corners because that's the one that actually kind of intrigued me. So if we go right here to give the taskbar rounded corners and we turn that on, as you can see, we've now essentially separated the taskbar from the edge of the monitor. So we have a little kind of space right here that goes all the way around the taskbar. And then we can come down here to advanced round taskbar settings and we can change how round or what kind of specific settings that we want to change to the round corners. So the first one would be right now it's set to medium rounded. So if we were to go here and just go slightly rounded, as you can see, it changes how the roundness of the start menu is. And we can go all the way up to maximum rounded, which essentially makes it round all the way around the taskbar right here. So I kind of like the way it was originally to the medium rounded. I think that looks really good. And then finally, if we scroll down here, you can actually see that there's also a way that we can apply a custom texture to the taskbars as well. So if we click on there and we hit this, say OK, and you can't really tell right here, but right here, carbon fiber is the default one. And if you look really close, you can kind of see that it's set to carbon fiber right here. And I'll go ahead and zoom in right here so you can kind of see a little bit better. But if you want, that's not the only texture that you can use. Right now it's set to carbon fiber, but we can go, let's go to this corroded one, and this one looks a lot more obvious. And then we can kind of keep going down this section right here, and we can essentially choose any texture that we want to put on the taskbar to change the way that it looks. We can go to this grunge style right here, but actually it looks pretty good. And then you can also go down all the way to the bottom right here, and you can pick a custom image as well. So if you decide to do that, you can do exactly the same thing. Go into your pictures, choose a picture. We'll go ahead and pick Rick Grimes just like we did before and open it. And as you can see, it definitely doesn't look as good as the start menu did when we were using it that way, but it gives you kind of a more interesting look. And you can always go online and download any kind of textures that you want to be able to change that. So now the next section we're going to go into is the taskbar pins right here. Now this next section right here is a really cool feature that I wish Microsoft would have built into Windows to begin with, being able to pin folders and files directly to the taskbar. And why isn't that just a built-in feature? I don't know, but we can do it here. Okay, so to do this, essentially all you do is to pin a file, for instance. We're gonna click here, it's gonna ask us our file. So I'm gonna go ahead and click the notes for this video, and then we hit OK, and then hit yes. And as you can see, now we have it right there in the taskbar. So if we wanna open it, we just click on it, and there we go. And if we want to get rid of it, all you have to do is just unpin it just like you would unpin any application from the taskbar. And then furthermore, if we want to go into the menu, we can either pin a folder itself. So I'm going to go ahead and just pin just a regular folder here. And we're going to let's pick our pictures right here and hit OK. And then hit yes. And as you can see, now our pictures are pinned directly to the start menu. And by clicking it, it opens up a folder for our pictures. However, I'm going to go ahead and unpin this, and I'm going to pin a folder menu, which essentially does the same thing as the pin folder does, but it does it as a menu. So we're going to go ahead and click Browse for Folder, do the same thing, do Pictures, hit OK, hit Yes. And now, as you can see, it pinned kind of similar to the way it did it before. But now if we click on it, it clicks on it as it's a menu itself, so you can actually go through it that way. I can see many different ways that something like this would be useful, especially if you were to, let's go ahead and unpin this one right here. Let's try browsing for our downloads folder. Hit yes, and now we have a download link directly right on our taskbar, which could come in fairly handy. And then, like I said, to get rid of it, you just right click and unpin and it'll go away. Now the next section we can look at here is the search section right here. So using the Start 11 search in the Start 11 menu essentially kind of is exactly what it sounds like. If you click on your start menu and let's say we search for regedit, as you can see, we're using the search for Start 11. However, if we want to, we can go ahead and uncheck this. And then if we click on the start menu and type regedit, we're using the regular Windows search at this point. If you don't want to use the Windows search and you just want to use the search in Start 11, all you got to do is flip this on and it'll work fine. And you can also, if you scroll down, you can also use the old Start 10 style search, which if you flip that one on, we're going to go ahead and hit start and search for regedit. It's essentially smaller icons it looks. So essentially you can go through here and find out which search you like the look of better and choose that one. However, I think the search function itself is different if you're using the Start 11 search right here. Next thing we're going to look at is right here, control. And this essentially changes how you control the start button itself. So you can choose how the start button opens. So if I go ahead and click my Windows key right here, as you can see, it opens the start menu. And if I click it again, it'll close the start menu. And the same thing right here for the start button itself with the mouse. So if I click on the start button, I get the Start 11 start menu. However, I can change this also. So say that I want the Start 11 menu to always open with the mouse, but I want the Windows key to open the classic Windows start menu. So to do that, I essentially click here and I choose, I want the Windows menu. And then from that point, if I click on the Windows button right here, as you can see, this is the regular Windows 11 start menu. But if I click on it with the mouse, I get the Start 11 start menu. So this gives you a lot of different options and ways that you can open the menu itself if you wanted to. And I'm going to go ahead and set it back to the Start 11 menu. And you also have this setting down here where it says Pin Windows menu shortcut to the Start 11 menu. And by having that turned on, once you click here, you'll notice that the Windows menu is right here. You can go ahead and click on that, and that'll give you the old Windows 11 start menu as well. However, if you don't like that, you can always flip this off, and then when you click here, it'll be gone. But you know, having access to the Windows 11 menu is kind of helpful because sometimes you need to use something in the Windows 11 menu itself. And if you need to, you always have fairly quick access to it. And then finally, if we come over here to the settings backup, you can do all different functions on saving your settings. So if you spend tons and tons of time configuring the UI in Windows 11, it would kind of suck to have to reload your system and do all that over again. So to back up your settings, essentially all you would do is click right here to back all your settings up to a file. And then later on, if you wanted to restore those settings, you would use this button here to restore your settings. And also, you can clear your suggested apps and search history just by clicking right here and hitting yes. And then if you do that, you can click on here, and it's supposed to get rid of the most recent apps and stuff like that you have. And it looks like I have the Windows menu pinned twice now. Not sure why, but apparently it is. So as you can see, you can dramatically change the UI in Windows 11 with this program. However, unfortunately, all this customization is not free. At the time of filming this video, you can get Start 11 for 10 bucks. Now, I'm specifying at the time of filming this video because according to their own website, this program used to be $7. It looks like inflation is screwing everything up, isn't it? So if you're watching this video like 6 months from now, it might be 15 bucks. Maybe you can just buy one less cup of coffee or one less gallon of gas, at least for now. But it's getting kind of close, isn't it? I did the math the other day and found out that I'm paying over $1,000 a month for gas. I guess that's the price of being a mobile tech, but I digress. Either way, I don't typically cover a lot of retail programs, and I'm not getting paid to recommend this one. I just think it does a really good job of giving you a ton of power over the Windows 11 UI. Personally, I think this kind of customization should just come built in native with Windows, but it doesn't. So if you want to be able to do the things that this program can do, then I guess you got to pay for it. However, if your budget can't fit $10 for a start menu replacement, then check out this video where I cover a bunch of different start menu replacements, and most of those are completely free. As always, you guys have a great day.